Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we're back once again with another 24/7 news report. We start this news report with some headline news, and our headline news today is that PSG are still negotiating a deal for Moise Kean. That's right, Paris Saint-Germain have decided that they only want to sign the Italian on another loan deal. The deal is stalling though, as Everton want to wait until the new manager comes in and see how he feels about Kean before deciding his future. This news has come from Fabrizio Romano on Twitter. I think, I've said this a couple of times, I think this is going to drag out for the summer. I think this is going to be a summer transfer saga. Will he stay? Will he go? You've already got to wait for Everton to decide the manager. From what we've gathered in the last couple of days, that might take some time in itself. Then you've got to decide if he actually likes Moise Kean. I don't know how much of Moise Kean he's probably watched, but he'll have to watch tapes of him, talk to him to even see if he wants that type of player there. And then, of course, you've got Paris Saint-Germain now, who seem to be messing us around. This went from something where it was a nailed-on deal that they would want Moise Kean to them now going, give us him on loan another season. The longer he goes out on loan, the less years he's got on his contract. Maybe PSG are hoping for a cut price on him, but Everton will be looking at trying to recoup the money spent on him. He might end up staying. That's the other option. He might end up staying with us. I wouldn't be opposed to that if he improves in certain areas. I think one of them's got to be his hold-up play. I remember watching him against, I think it was Salford, and his hold-up play for me was really shocking. I think he's one of those players where the ball's best played in front of him. But obviously the way Everton play, you see it with Dominic Calvert-Lewin dropping in deep. We like to play off our big strikers, get them involved, have the wingers come in from him. So his hold-up play needs to be a lot better, in my opinion, for him to have a career at the club. We then move on to the news that Footy Insider 24/7 are reporting that Nuno Santo Espirito has already been interviewed for the Everton job. The Portuguese manager is the leading candidate. However, there is one stumbling block, and it's supposedly the size of the backroom staff that he would want to bring into the club. This for me is Everton will have certain backroom members that they will not want to leave. Duncan Ferguson being one of them. I think he stays in some capacity. Whether he's the assistant, I don't know, but he will certainly be staying in some capacity. Carlo kept him. I'm pretty sure it's something Everton say, we're not getting rid of him. Obviously, as well, if he's bringing in a load of his staff, that's going to cause, a lot of staff to be let off, and Everton might not want to have to pay the compensation on those contracts to them, pay higher wages potentially for more coaching staff. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Duncan Castles has said in his latest The Transfer Window podcast that Nuno has been told by the club he is their preferred candidate. He said, Nuno has already spoke to Everton, and my guidance says that the interview went well. Everton told him that he was their preferred choice for the job. However, they have put things on hold since then and not actually offered him the job. He's then gone on to say Everton's finances aren't great. This plays into what Nuno wants from Everton, which is the degree of spending he'll be allowed to have and the amount of changes he'll be allowed to make to the squad should they offer him the job. Castles does go on to say, obviously, that Pedro Neto is one of the big players that Nuno would want. We did report this in yesterday's, that Neto is who Everton want. I think that's a target regardless of if we get Nuno, but obviously if we're going to bring Nuno in, Pedro Neto is very high on his list of players. For me, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure if I want Nuno, to be honest. And this seems like a lot of hard work already. I get, managers will want their coaching staff, and that's not a bad thing for managers to want. But if he's bringing in a vast amount of them, that's going to cost Everton a lot of money as well. Him being all over the... I don't know if we are in financial trouble, to be completely honest, because like I said in the last video, we were ready to really back Carlo this summer, so we wouldn't have been in that much of financial straits. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, for him to be wondering about the money and stuff. His other option is Crystal Palace, who I don't think have got massive amounts of money to play with either. And no offence to Crystal Palace, but I'd say that's a harder job because of their aging squad, how many players are out of contract. They'd probably have to sell Wilfried Zaha to buy. I don't know. It all seems a bit like he's being a bit too much of a pain in the backside quite early on for my liking. And the other worry is, with it being us, is this worth it if he's potentially out of the job in a year and a half's time, which I think is probably the average that managers last for us at the minute. But we'll have to wait and see about all of this. We also have the news that Ben Godfrey has missed out on the Euros. Gareth Southgate's decided to go with Ben White for the Euros, who obviously replaces Trent Alexander-Arnold, who was ruled out of the tournament with an injury. Godfrey did play right back against Romania, but Southgate's chosen the Brighton man. Again, I watched the Romania game. England weren't exactly inspiring, in my opinion. But Godfrey, I thought, played all right in a position, he's played once or twice there under Carlo this season in his 5 back. I mean, I thought he did okay. I thought he did all right. But obviously Southgate's decided to go with Ben White. I don't know whether that's experience or something else. I know there's a hot debate on James Ward-Prowse should have been picked instead of a defender. I personally think if I was England manager, I'd go with James Ward-Prowse just because what he offers you from set pieces is somewhat near to what you lose with Trent from set pieces. And Ward-Prowse very nearly assisted Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the game, DCL hitting the bar, which is quite unlucky, but it was a really good free kick to pick him out, and I think those two combined would, really help England this summer. But yeah, Ben White has got it over Godfrey. Next we have the news coming from HITC that Everton will miss out on 2 experienced managers. One of those managers is Sean Dyche. They cite the Daily Mail and say that Sean Dyche is set to sign a new contract at Burnley, and this would include a sizable release clause. The other manager is also Rafa Benitez, who is in talks with Turkish side Fenerbahce, despite the belief that Benitez would prefer to return to Merseyside. I know he's got family there. The Athletic said that he'd want to return to Merseyside. It looks like he might go to Fenerbahce in Turkey. This one, Sean Dyche has done really well at Burnley. I've seen a couple of people say they want him at Everton. He does play at a 4-4-2, which you could argue is probably maybe suited to Everton a bit better. I don't really know. I think if we're going to have to pay a sizable release clause, he's probably not worth paying a sizable release clause for. Benitez, again, I don't know about this. I feel like it's the same with Gerrard will never get it. But when he was touted for it, the same thing. It will only take a couple of bad results before things start to turn on them. Fans, start to turn after a bad set of run because there is that link to Liverpool. And Benitez, when he was in charge of Liverpool, did sort of, he loved the rivalry. So it's not going to be easy for Blues to forget. So I do think, you're only a couple of results away, especially if you're, seen as a bit of a legend in Liverpool fans' eyes before fans turn on you. So I think, although he might be a good manager, probably best to just avoid that altogether. There are also rumours that David Moyes returning to Everton. They have now been hit dead in the nail. The Claret and Hugh are reporting that Moyes isn't returning and that the Blues haven't even made contact with the former manager over the vacancy. This is good in my opinion. Obviously, I said in the video yesterday, you can't really go backwards. Bill Kenwright, I know, is a massive fan of David Moyes and a friend, but it looks like that's not who's instigating these interviews and contacts. Otherwise, Moyes probably would have been contacted. So this is good to see. I think Marcel Brands, like we reported, is in charge. And obviously Marcel Brands doesn't see this as a viable choice in David Moyes. Speaking of managers not being contacted though, there is also news from Il Messaggero in Italy that Everton haven't contacted Maurizio Sarri either, despite rumours last week saying that the Blues were quite keen on the Italian manager. Sport Witness have also claimed that Sarri's turned down offers from Russia and Turkey. There is also reports that Sarri is actually waiting around in Italy over the potential Lazio job. So obviously he's probably eyeing up staying in Italy. He's just waiting to hear back from Lazio. He's clearly turned down jobs in Russia and Turkey on the hope of the Lazio job. And if Everton aren't going to make contact, it's probably where he's going to end up. Again, I don't know. Would you take Sarri at Everton? Do you think this is a missed opportunity? Let us know down below in the comments. We also have news that Middlesbrough's representatives have made contact with Yannick Bolasie in a bid to sign the winger. Bolasie was released last week from his Everton contract, and the Northern Echo believe that Borough have already made contact with Bolasie. Bolasie has spent the last season on loan there. He made 15 appearances, scored 3 goals and got 3 assists. This is, good luck to him in all his endeavours. If that is going back to Borough, he clearly, found a little bit of form at Borough. Warnock will be hoping that he can do the same again next season for them. We wish him all the best. It didn't work out at us, but it might work out at Middlesbrough. Finally, we have news that Everton are monitoring Chris Woods. We obviously reported last week that Everton were interested. They are still monitoring the situation, but they want to wait for the new manager to come in before making, any active bid, continuing their interest. This has come from Dave Anderson of the Mirror, who also said Woods is wanted by Aston Villa and West Ham. Woods has 2 years left on his contract though at Burnley, and Burnley do see him as an important player, especially because this is the 4th consecutive season that the New Zealander has got into double figures in a season. Again, I said it the other day, is Chris Wood the type of player? He's had a very good season. He's very dominant in the air. He's very powerful. He bullies defenders. If we were going to play crossing in from the wings and the fullbacks, he would suit that. Whether Everton go to make the bid for him or not, we are rumoured to want a couple of strikers. I said Joaquin Correa yesterday we're interested in. And also we've got Moise Kean, who at this minute in time might be coming back. So we'll have to wait and see. And obviously this all pins around the new manager. You're not going to, go and sign a certain amount of players without the new manager's opinion. So we'll have to wait and see what happens and who gets announced. But that's all of the Everton news that we have got time for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video, and comment down below about anything we've discussed in this video. Do you think Sarri could be a missed opportunity? Same with Benitez. Do you think we should have contacted Moyes? What do you think about Chris Woods, Moise Kean and PSG? Should we send them out on loan again? Should we push for a proper bid of money? That 50 million euros Everton want? Or should we welcome him back and see what he can do? Let us know down below. I'm sure you guys will let us know all your opinions on this. Don't forget to follow me and, more importantly, the Toffee Blues on Twitter. The links will be in the description down below to our handles. The Toffee Blues, like I said, run polls on managers, quite often opinion polls on Twitter, and they often get read out in these news videos. So if you want your vote to be read out, go follow them, vote in the polls. And most importantly, guys, take care, and I'll see you soon.